The
On
reality
paper,
of Jamaica's
economy is
realty.
booming. Formal unemployment sits at a record low of 3.3%, and post-pandemic tourism is bringing in billions. The Bank of Jamaica has wrestled inflation down below 4%, and the national debt is shrinking. By every macroeconomic measure, the country is thriving. But down at the household level, those numbers mask a very different reality. Take a typical middle-income household, 2 working professionals bringing home a combined 400,000 Jamaican dollars a month. A decade ago, that income secured a comfortable home and a major urban center. This graphic shows what happens today. When we weigh that solid local income against the sticker price of a standard modern home, which now lists for roughly 40 million JMD, the domestic salary is completely overwhelmed. To even qualify for a mortgage on that house, buyers need liquid cash for a 10 to 20% deposit. Then, they face commercial mortgage rates hovering around 10%. The monthly payments alone would consume every dollar those 2 professionals earn, leaving nothing for food, utilities, or taxes. The math is unforgiving. Housing prices in Jamaica have disconnected from local wages. The property market has transitioned from a localized system meant to provide shelter into an exclusive global asset class. If the average Jamaican is priced out, who is buying all these homes? The answer is that local workers are no longer competing against each other. They are actively bidding against foreign fiat currencies, government-backed money like US dollars, British pounds, and Canadian dollars. This diagram illustrates the core mechanism of the crisis. To a diaspora investor earning abroad, a $350,000 property looks like an affordable, high-yield retirement asset. But watch what happens when that same sum converts to local currency. It morphs into a 55 million JND sticker price. The influx of overseas wealth resets the pricing floor of the market, moving the target away from what a local salary can achieve. Add in the growth of short-term rentals like Airbnb, and the distortion accelerates. Properties in coastal hubs and major cities are now valued based on the US dollars they can extract from tourists, rather than what a local renter could afford. Domestic wages are now irrelevant to market clearing prices. The pricing floor is dictated by the purchasing power of external wealth. This intense demand collides with physical bottlenecks. Major urban centers like Kingston are geographically trapped, hemmed in by the Caribbean Sea to the south and the Blue Mountains to the north, which places a hard limit on horizontal expansion. Building upward or outward is expensive. Jamaica imports almost all its vital construction materials: steel, lumber, specialized plumbing. This tethers local building costs directly to global supply chain shocks and weather events that delay shipping. Developers also face high bureaucratic friction, waiting up to 2 years for subdivision approvals, while paying high import duties inflates the initial cost of building before a single shovel hits the dirt. We can see why the middle class is ignored by looking at this cost stack chart. Once a developer pays for raw land, imported materials, taxes, and holding delays, they need a 20 to 30% profit margin just to survive. As the chart shows, that margin vanishes at the affordable tier. Private developers have moved away from the middle market to build luxury apartments and coastal villas where margins are safer. The systemic cost architecture penalizes the creation of accessible shelter. With home ownership mathematically out of reach, the domestic workforce is pushed into a permanent rental cycle. Uncontrolled rental costs routinely extract up to 50% of a household's net income. This strips families of their primary tool for building assets, transferring their wages directly to a consolidated class of landlords and overseas investors. This map reveals the spatial reality. External capital targets premium urban and coastal hubs, highlighted here in bright colors. As foreign yields capture prime real estate, local workers are displaced, forced into the geographic periphery, leading to unstructured urban sprawl. This creates a time tax. Middle-income workers now face 90-minute commutes to reach their jobs in the city, stealing 10 to 15 hours of their lives every single week. 15 hours of commuting per week is time that cannot be spent on a second job or professional training. This forced displacement exhausts the workers' capacity for growth, leaving them stuck in their current income bracket, while property values continue to climb. The pressure of this system is creating a silent consequence. Rational actors, crushed by the cost of living and housing instability, are deferring or entirely abandoning childbearing. This graph tracks Jamaica's fertility rate, We see a drop from historical norms down to the 1.4 to 1.9 range. It has fallen below the population replacement level of 2.1, indicated by this bold line. The unaffordability of basic shelter is acting as an economic contraceptive. The nation is transitioning into a low-growth demographic profile long before it has generated broad-based wealth. The system functions exactly as incentivized. It serves as an extractive machine for global capital, displacing the Jamaican working class within their own homeland.